Hello and welcome to 5-Minute Math. Today we are looking at the Algebra 1 concept of factoring trinomials. This is standard A.10E in the great state of Texas, and we are using item number 26 of the Redesign Practice Online STAAR test. If you haven't done so already, please go ahead and take a moment to pause the video, work this problem out on your own, unpause it, and we will look at our answers together. And we are going to just factor this. It's a trinomial because it's got 3 terms. And it actually is setting up just right. It's got this format that we need. ax squared plus bx plus c. So we need to just line it up here. So it's negative 6x squared. And that's going to be a plus, and I'm going to go ahead and just rewrite this as a plus 19x. It's the same as minus 19, but I need to grab that as a negative 19. And then I've got a plus 20. So my a term is going to be negative 6. My b term is going to be negative 19, and my c term is going to be 20. That's going to be important because we're going to use the diamond method. Now, it's not the only way to solve this, but it is highly effective and efficient. So a times c is what we're going to put up in the top. So that's going to be negative 6 times 20. So that's negative 120. Our b term goes down below, negative 19, and the signs make a big difference, positive or negative. And then we got ax over my factor, and then ax over my factor over here. So my a is going to be negative 6x over something, negative 6x over something. I'm looking for two factors that multiply to my negative 120 and add to negative 19. So I'm going to list out my factors of 120, and then I realize that if it's going to be negative 120, one of them is going to have to be positive, one of them is going to have to be negative. If they're going to add to negative 19, they need to be 19 apart. So let's just start listing them. 1 and 120, 2 and 60, 3 and 40, 4 and 30, getting closer now, 5 and 24. Look at that. That's 19 apart. That's what I'm going to need. 6 and 20, 8 and 15, 10 and 12. And now I've got all of them, but I'm needing this right here. And I want it to be a negative 19 when I add them, right? Because what I want is 5 times negative 24 gets me negative 120. But then 5 plus negative 24, or minus 24, gets me minus 19. So those are going to be my two factors, 5 and then negative 24. Okay? Now, what I do here is I look, is there any way I can factor this out, the negative 6 over 5? If not, I'm just going to write it like this, right? So negative 6x, and that's going to be a plus 5. And then I've got, I can factor out a negative 6 out of that, right? Negative 6 out of that, so that's going to end up being a positive 1. And that's going to be a positive 4, so it's going to end up being x over 4. So I can write this, x over 4. Now, to double check, we can always FOIL it out, right? So negative 6x squared, that's minus 24x plus 5x plus 20. Right, that becomes negative 19x, and we're good. Now, take a look at your answer selections. I don't see either of these, but take a look at this right here. Take a look at this right here. Sometimes we might not like having a negative exponent as our leading coefficient. So what happens if I multiply this whole thing, right, by negative 1? Okay? So if I multiply the whole thing by negative 1, look what happens to this right here. Okay? I end up flipping this to 6x, and then I end up flipping that to negative 5, right? Then I can do the same thing over here. I could do negative x and then minus 4. So our answer here is going to be B.